You can see where the Park Service have erected a few observation platforms both on the cliff and on the castle. They also built a pretty nice place for a wedding, which I agree. And that's the only marriage I know of that genuinely started off on the rocks. Now we have a couple of caves coming up known as the Caves of All Colors. They're a good example of that wave action that cuts out the soft end layer of rock you see through the center of them. In the wintertime, when large waves come crashing into these caves, they'll pressurize and shoot out like a cannon. The wind will catch the spray from those waves, throw it back on top of the cliff and freeze, leaving 4 to 5 feet of ice up there. They'll look like little bushes, or actually old, stunted trees. Stunted by the weight of that ice. I don't care how much you say you're in love. The water depth directly beneath that archway is only 3 feet. It makes for a rather short love story. As we pass, if you look closely in the mouth of Rainbow Cave, you may notice some tiny splashes on the surface water, almost as if it's raining inside of Rainbow Cave. Well, groundwater falls from the ceiling of the cave and into the lake like rain all year long, and it creates huge, colorful icicles in the wintertime. In the upper right-hand corner of the cave, you can see some of that blue-green copper staining I was telling you about. Painted desert, at least is what they tell me. Though I've never seen the painted desert, I do understand what they're trying to get at. In fact, that's how Pictured Rocks received its name. It's from people seeing different images or faces on the sides of these cliffs. I've heard people say they see all sorts of things: planes, trains, farm scenes, famous paintings, famous faces, cartoon heroes. Of a rock formation standing at 208 feet high. Used to be able to take a small boat through the archway, but that crashed down some 25 years ago. I had to rock climb to get through there. Now, there used to be a series of caves and caverns that went from Grand Portal out to where the boat is now, covered an area of about 6 acres, but all of that came crashing down in 1902. And the next formations here are known as the drums. Kind of look like elephant's feet or bear's legs. They say when a 20-foot high wave comes crashing into the mouth of the drums, it makes a sound much like thunder. Falls, which you can follow all the way up to Chapel Lake. Chapel Lake is completely cliff-bound with cliffs similar to the pictured rocks. This next formation here is known as Chapel Rock. Chapel Rock's quite the interesting formation, standing at 65 feet in height. What was more interesting than the rock itself is the lone pine tree sitting on top. There is not enough soil up there for that tree to survive. The only way it gets its water and nutrients are from its roots that are hanging to the mainland. You can see those roots hang out the left-hand side. Used to be a stone archway supporting those roots, but that came crashing down some 65 years ago. Along the pictured rocks, cliffs that runs year-round. In the wintertime, it'll form an ice column all the way around it, and the water will continue to flow through its center. It's quite shallow underneath the waterfall. If you came out here on your own boat, you could stand up underneath it if you'd like.